everybody, good afternoon. Welcome back to Tampa Bay Business Connections. I have got a good lineup today. So today, start off, do you want to get away? Do you really want to get away? Do you want to get away with no hassles, no problems? You want to be going somewhere with confidence so you know you're going to get there and you're going to get back because it's a big deal. I've got Jackie Skelton here from JR World Travel, and we've known each other for quite a
long time, John.
Right? And it's every time that I even think about, we go, okay, well maybe we want to get away. My wife and I go, I got to call Jackie, but we never get away because that's the TV business. We don't ever get to. No, we don't ever get away.
We've had 2 years of absolute hell, though, haven't we?
Right, exactly. So let's talk about JR World Travel, and some people think all you do is cruises. But you do like a plethora of travel. So let's talk about all that.
All right. Well, if you remember years ago, you had the yellow pages and you had travel agents, and those agents did everything. That's what we do.
Right.
So we do car rentals, hotels, we do resorts, all-inclusives. I do the cruising, of course, rivers and oceans, and internally as well as externally. So we have a world license, and I can do anything for anybody. The only thing I don't do now is internal air on its own.
Okay.
Because by the time I call you and say, John, hey, here's a price for $2.99 to go to Chicago,
changed, right?
It's gone.
Yeah, it's gone. Right.
And apart from that, nobody works for free these days.
Right.
So when they took all the commissions away from air travel, but again, you know, if you call me and say, hey, I just want a trip to England and there's no accommodation, I do it for people. I do it all the time.
Right.
But we are your old-fashioned yellow pages travel consultants.
So now we're going to go back because she's mentioned a ton of stuff. What is the difference between a river cruise and an ocean cruise? I know one's saltwater, one's freshwater. I get that part. But people sometimes think they're the exact same, and they're not the exact same.
Heavens no. So on the ocean cruises, you know, we all have these big ships, and you can get boutique cruise lines that have smaller ships, like Viking, because they've got 900 people on a ship that would take 2,500, and stuff like that. But there's vast differences between the oceans and the rivers. The rivers have probably got 168 to 208 people only, and they're more like a barge. Okay, they're flat, 3 or 4 levels if you like, but they are so great. If you have motion sickness, there is no motion.
Right.
On the rivers.
Because it's more of calm water.
Well, it is.
Sometimes. I've seen rivers rage, but...
Well, this is right. But if you do like the rivers of Europe and the Mississippi like we've done, they're beautiful. They're calm, and people say to me, well, what if it tips over? You can walk to the other side. Right. I mean, you're not like in the middle of the ocean here. Right. There's vast differences, though. A lot of the river cruises don't have all the big entertainers.
Right.
Okay.
So if I wanted to go on the Mississippi, right, and I wanted to do one of the big paddle wheel boats.
Paddle wheel boats.
Do you do those?
We do. Yeah.
And now those are typically 1 weeks or
most of them are 7 nights.
7 nights.
And extended. So again, you have to understand what happens with the paddle wheel. Most people want to be up in certain cabins. When that paddle wheel turns, there's water up there.
Yeah.
So you're not going to sit out on that nice
splash
deck.
Zone?
Yeah, well it is. And you're not going to sit out there on your little lounge chair and overlook the Mississippi. There's water up there.
Right.
But people seem to think they want to be where that paddle wheeler is.
No, I want to be as far away from that as possible.
Exactly.
Okay, so and we were talking before we started filming, and we won't mention any names, but you've already got people planning for the next Olympics.
I do.
And
Paris.
You can actually help facilitate all of that.
That's right. So I have a fairly large group, if you like. They'll fly into Paris. I'm going to do all their air. I'll do their accommodations. I'll do tours in Paris because they only want to go to one part of the Olympics, which is the track and field.
Right.
Take about 3 or 4 days. But I'll coordinate all that. But then I'll do all their tours around and out of Paris as well, and then bring them home.
Okay. So you are the perfect person to do this. And I've listened to our networking group. That's awesome. It's like when she stands up, I'm like, she's going to give it to him. Because the problem is everybody tries to do it on their own. And next thing you know, they're overseas or they're on a boat or they've missed a flight. And then even though they booked it themselves, they call you and go, can you help?
Oh, yes, all the time. And at least once a week I get this.
Right.
Once a week. So a very quick example, the last one. So a lady calls me and she says, Jackie, I can't get my deposit back. I don't know who you are.
Right.
Did you book with me? Well, no. Okay, what can I do for you?
Right.
She booked through Royal Caribbean. And I went, what's the booking number? So I called Royal Caribbean and they said, she didn't book through us. I said, who'd you book through?
Right.
Online.
Oh, boy.
People think you see Royal Caribbean, Carnival. You need to make sure you're on their site.
Right.
Not a third-party site, and there's plenty of them out there.
Right. They hide that very well.
Oh, very much so.
You think that you're on Royal Caribbean or Carnival
whatever.
Or
it doesn't
whatever,
matter.
And you're not.
No, you're not. So she said, well, how do I get my $1,000? I said, I can make a phone call and get God before I can get your $1,000 back. And I'm not being rude, but if you're going to book online, and this is what I say, you can't do it better yourself. And I don't want to hear about it.
Right.
You can't get a better price because you're not allowed to undercut the cruise lines.
Right.
And the cruise lines are not going to undercut themselves.
Right, exactly.
So people will tend to think, well, it's a better price. The price online doesn't normally include port charges, taxes, prepaid gratuities.
Right.
So when you book with us, it's a one package price. Everything is there.
See, that makes it easier. Just let you take care of it all. Now, the world of travel is changing in a big way.
Oh, it
right?
has. Oh, heavens
so
above.
I mean, it's getting to the point where sometimes it's going to be in the U.S. changing as well.
Oh, it has.
So let's talk about that real quick.
Yeah, it has. So travel has changed. I mean, the internet has changed everything so much, but I am finding people coming back because A, they want personalised service, and that's what we give.
Right.
A, we don't have any service fee. So remember that. I don't charge you to use us. And people want to know how do we get paid. When you deal with a supplier direct, you're going to pay their commission no matter what.
Right.
No matter what. They're never going to give that up. So we get part of that. All right, so it's not like we're not allowed to give you our commission and reduce things. It's illegal. In the US, since the pandemic hit, things have changed drastically, and I don't really see travel being fully fledged out of this until midway during this year.
Okay.
So New Zealand is opening in stages. They've lost their minds down there. New Zealand is opening in stages. Well, they should be fully functional by July.
Okay.
So that's one country. Think about the rest of the world that are still terrorised.
Yes.
Okay, so internally here, we've said to people, if you don't want to go overseas, even without the pandemic, do you understand what you can see in this country?
Right.
This country has got a plethora of stuff to see. We've got a 3-week trip that we'll give you to do. You can go out to the mountains for 3 weeks. It's all done.
That.
Drive, go and see places that you haven't seen.
Right.
So I'll ask you a question. What is Lake Havasu famous for?
Oh, I know this.
I know you do.
I know this. Oh, this is so bad. Okay, what is it famous for?
It has the original London Bridge.
That's correct.
That's right.
Yes.
But I mean, you'll go to these places, go to the Painted Desert, go to the Petrified Forest.
Monument Park.
All these things. And another great place is Chattanooga. A day's drive from
Love
here.
Chattanooga. Grew up in Chattanooga.
Oh, did you really?
Oh, my God, yes.
One of the better places to go and see. If we have people coming up from Australia, New Zealand, depending on time, we try and get a small cruise in because the world wants to go down the Caribbean.
Right.
Florida is the cruise capital of the world.
Right.
Okay, so they want to do that. But then we've taken to Chattanooga. Savannah is my most favourite city in the 23 states I've seen.
Yep.
And then we'll come back down through St. Augustine and Daytona and do that. There are so many nice things to see that are not going to cost you $1 million.
Right. Exactly. You know? Well, what about the travel? What about the passports and flying? That's because that's changing as well, right? Now you have to have a COVID-approved passport.
Yep. Well, some countries are asking for different things.
Okay.
All right, but at the moment, everything is still COVID related.
Okay.
I think that's going to change. When? Let's see where it goes. But again, you have to fly out of this country, you have to have a passport. So that puts us back into, if you're doing a cruise down the Caribbean, you can go with the stupid passport card or your license. Something happens to you, you can't get on a plane and fly home. Insurance, if you don't have insurance, the last lady I had, $110,000 to get her from Cozumel back here.
Oh my.
But people won't buy the insurance. So now, most of the cruise lines are requiring you to have insurance.
That's good.
I agree.
That's really good.
I agree. And they say it has to cover COVID. Well, you've got to be careful about what insurance you're buying. We deal with some specific companies, and to them, COVID is, when I say nothing, it's just part of an illness.
Right.
But these cruise lines, because people are going off and buying, or not buying, they're saying my credit card covers me, and all these sorts of things. Typically, no, it does not.
It does not.
And they don't understand that. So, again, John, it's not about me selling. I can sell anything. That's where I make my money.
Right.
It's about education.
Right.
And I want to give people education on how to travel decently.
And I'm glad you said that, because you have your own TV station.
Yes, we do.
Or TV show, sorry.
Yeah, it's called JR World Travel TV. So we live stream on Roku TV, Amazon TV, and Apple TV 24 hours, 7 days a week.
Right.
There's beautiful programs on there to go and see. Different parts of the world, foods of the world, train journeys. Beautiful train journeys.
Love trains.
Oh, so do I.
I love that's a bucket list. And me and my wife want to do the East Coast to West Coast.
Oh yes.
Or we may fly out and do West Coast to East Coast.
Yeah, whatever. But I mean, do the trains, and trains are not inexpensive today.
No.
They used to be. I mean, when I grew up, get a train.
That's how we got around as kids when we were younger. That and bus lines. We never drove or flew. We never flew. No. Everything was on a train.
Yep. But even in New Zealand, I go Auckland to Wellington overnight. Yeah. And you paid a little bit more to get a little bed there. Right. But again, no, I love train journeys.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely love train journeys. And there's some beautiful train journeys in this country and out of this country.
Okay. Yeah. So we got about a minute and a half left.
Yep.
So what's hot right now?
What's hot right now? All-inclusives.
Yeah.
Because Mexico's been open for some time, as you know, a bit like Florida. But all-inclusives, cruising. But be careful with cruising. I always say, don't get mixed up in the hype. Call me. Let's get some good deals going. Right. And there are deals out there. Right. But there's a lot of things happening now that are going to squash all that, because these guys have had no money for 2 years. If you think these little deals are going to continue into 23 and 24, you're going to be in for a shock. Right. But there's some great things to do out there, John. Okay. See, now look, that's why we bring people like this on here, so that way you can figure out what you want to do. But if you don't know what you want to do, but you got some money and you know you want to get away, they need to call you. I will meet you personally. If you're in the Tampa Bay area, I will come to you. As I said, we work with you. The other thing is, Ross and I, between us, have got over 100 years of travel. Right. We've been in every pitfall, so we know how to get out of it and how not to put you in it. Right. And that's the main thing. And that's awesome. It is. That's awesome. Thank you for coming on. Darling. We appreciate it. So stick around. We got way more. We got more people coming on. We're going to make sure you're getting educated and you're meeting some great businesses in the Tampa Bay area. That's all what the show's about, Tampa Bay Business Connection. So that way you can know where to go when you need to get stuff done. We'll be right back. Thank you. All right, we're back. You know what? Again, we got a great lineup today. So, you got those floors. You don't know what to do with them because you're like tired of wood, or I'm tired of carpet, or, my garage looks like someone was murdered in it because it's just stained everywhere.
Or the moon landing.
Or the moon landing, that's even better, right? So we got Chris from Trinity Epoxy Flooring, and you guys make your floor look like new.
Yes, no, that is exactly what we want to pride ourselves in, is kind of making ugly concrete look beautiful again. We specialize in garage flake floors, but we're also doing indoor seamless kind of like metallic flake, which is really becoming popular.
Okay, so the process, when I look at my garage and go, well, it's pretty bad, right? And I sure don't want to sit there to have to try to grind that thing down, sand it down, wash it down, wipe it down, clean it up so I can put something on there that I'm probably going to screw up horribly.
I appreciate that setup, because a lot of the kind of do-it-yourselfers, this is one I would recommend. You maybe, just like the electrician, these epoxies, if you're using the right ones.
Wait a minute, you don't want me doing my own electric either?
Well, you're not trained.
I'm done. I guess I'm going to have to quit because I do that. Oh, no, I'm just kidding.
No, believe me. The small stuff, 110 is fine.
220, don't ever mess with 220. It doesn't like people.
But yeah, so if you've got something that's an eyesore when you open up the garage, the rest of your house is absolutely beautiful. You've upgraded the kitchen, you've upgraded the pool deck, you've upgraded all the different things that you have. But every time you open up that garage, it's kind of an eyesore. It's full of all your stuff. What we kind of do and come in after, you have pride in the way your garage looks, and it just becomes something that is going to last a lifetime. We have a 25-year guarantee, and like you said, you don't want to do this yourself because of the process that we do. We don't come in with just like the chemicals or pressure washing and acid etch. We have our big machinery, our $4,000 vacuum with our 20-inch grinder that resurfaces the concrete with a diamond grinding bit.
All I could see me trying to run that is it's a rodeo. It's going to be, can John stay on for 9 seconds? I'm just saying right now.
It is a big old machine, and you're moving back and forth, and it's all in the hips. And
I would be the YouTube video of the guy getting stuck and being slung around and being wrapped up with the electrical cord.
Yeah, no, it's a serious piece of machinery, and that's why we can come in and do it quickly, though, because we have that serious piece of machinery. We can do a 1-2 car garage in one day, 3-car garage we can typically do in 1.5 days, so we're kind of in and out. We come in, we resurface that concrete, take up all the oil, all the divots, and open up the substrate is what we call it. Okay. So all the divots and all the nastiness will be showing, but it will be clean concrete.
Because that surface has to be absorbed.
Yes.
Okay. So real quick, what kind of surface can you not put this epoxy on?
It's specialized for concrete, at least the ones that we use. We also have ones for countertops and wood. We do have certain processes that we use to make sure that we don't have it kind of seep through or absorb depending on what the material is. So we do have processes for countertops, and we do have a little bit of experience putting this over wood as well, but really it's meant for the concrete.
So when you say concrete, so if I've got it's great that you can do my garage, but what if I want, maybe if I have a ton of money, what if I want my driveway and my sidewalks to match my garage surface?
Thank you for that as well, because we've actually done a beautiful job restoring a few driveways lately, and we've got another project coming up next month, and 1,250 square feet of a walkway up to the door. We're really excited about this project because what we're able to do is a lot of people have large cracks in their driveway. And these water pool stains and all these different things, we're able to come in, resurface it. We have a certain process where it's a 5-layer epoxy system where we put a vapor barrier down after we clean the concrete. We then put our broadcast intermediate layer down. We then broadcast our flake into that, and we can do custom flake. We actually did one where we matched a copper tone red because they had a red roof. So the pictures are right on the website, and we actually really just take pride in.
So does the 25-year warranty stand with the outside stuff as well?
Yes. So what it is there's an adhesion warranty backed up by Elite Concrete Systems is the proper name. So they've been in business since 1961, making epoxies. We did research into all the different epoxies that are out there, and these guys have the best epoxies, so that's why we decided to go get certified with them. It's not the paint store stuff, it's not the big box stuff. This is contractor grade, industrial grade epoxies. They themselves have done projects at SeaWorld and NASA and such. So that's what kind of sets us apart, is our ability to get these.
I was just wondering, I could see the inside being 25 years because, you're inside, it's okay, but the outside.
Yeah, so what we have is a AUSV 50 and AUSV and polyaspartic, and so these products are meant with a long-lasting UV protection, and we're able to put 2 coats on top and make sure that it's going to last for a long time.
Oh, okay, that's awesome. Because all I ever knew you could do with your concrete, your driveways, was either get them recovered, repaved, pavers, or painted. And I've seen the guys out there paint it, and then about 3 years later, they're painting it again, and 3 years later, they're painting it again.
Yes, and there are some questions that we get to, like, what if my driveway's a little bit steeper? Isn't that epoxy sometimes a little bit slippery and slick? So we have a backtrack or aluminum oxide aggregate that we can
grip.
Correct. So there is a nice grittiness to it that you can definitely put this on. We put it in sometimes, if necessary, we can even put it in both of the top 2 layers. But typically, we put it in that first top coat. That's that kind of
now,
seal.
is that something that's that you have to maintain every couple of years?
You're going to be able to pretty much. You could pressure wash it because it's got 12,000 pounds of PSI before it's going anywhere, and it's really great. You don't even really need to pressure wash it. You can almost soft wash it and squeegee it, and it's going to basically come right back to life.
That's awesome.
Yeah, chemical resistant.
Yeah, that is a big deal. So you have the color choices here. I know you said you can do custom, but just your color choices. I don't know if you can come to mind, Rob, or not, but that is some really good choices.
There's different sizes that we can do. We do
big flake, little flake.
Correct. So especially on the driveways, and we actually are starting to do this on pool decks as well. We'll take down the cool deck, open up that fresh concrete, and because we have the aggregate ability now, we're going ahead and make that non-slip surface around the pool deck. So we're actually starting a pool deck project next week.
Now, are you talking about, do you do just the deck, or you do the decorative concrete that goes around the deck?
So we're going all the way around the pool, all the basically pool surface patio area. So we don't necessarily do any of the actual concrete work or any of the pool surfacing, but all the flat surfaces around it.
Flat surfaces. I was wondering how you're going to do those little whoop-de-doo. That's pretty good if you can get those done.
Yeah, we did a project actually where we just did the border of this pool, and it was this bowl-shaped U70 style type concrete, and we had to use our 7-inch diamond grinder and manhandle that thing, and that was a lot of man hours and arm killing kind of grinding on that one.
Though, right?
But yeah, we ended up getting that looking beautiful too. So it's just really, really fulfilling when somebody says, hey, this, people don't even really want to touch this, it looks so ugly, and then we can come in and say yes and try to make it look beautiful.
So start to finish on an average 2-car garage, with the concrete being just painted, like sometimes
Sure.
gray.
Absolutely, they got that epoxy paint gray that sometimes has been there for 30 years.
Start to finish, your 2 days?
2 days, easy. Sometimes we're even able to knock out a 2-car garage or 1-car garage in a single day. We'll come in 7 in the morning, get everything prepared, grind that flat surface, get our vapor barrier down, allow that to settle and dry, do any patching that we need to do, allow that to settle and dry. Then we're doing our intermediate coat, our flake, and our top coat, and we're out at 6 o'clock and done.
Okay, so what about a not so perfect garage where I've seen them where there was a spill or there was an extra piece of concrete that just didn't get done right?
Sure.
You got a lot of oil, you've got a lot of transmission fluid, all that stuff. Now what do you do?
Yeah, we're able to come in with our big and our small grinders and grind that out, clean that out to where it's clean concrete. If there's any major kind of divoting or moon cratering, as we've seen, we have a special compound for both cracks and also crater filling. So that way you get a nice, beautiful, smooth surface at the end, and really that would maybe depending on the situation and what we run into, we've had a couple of little days where we ran into certain situations and wow, we thought we were going to knock that out in 2 hours, and poof, we just spent 6 hours grinding concrete. You got a vacuum full of 50 pounds of concrete dust. But at the end of the day, we stand behind our products and we stand behind our work, and we're going to work until we get the job done. Okay.
So I have one more scenario. I've got one of these high-end garages, that 2-car, or let's just say 3-car, but I had that thing acid washed and I mean shine to, like marble. That's not a problem?
Oh, no, not a problem at all. In fact, we're going to come in and put our circled etch across the whole floor anyways, because we need that diamond etched in the concrete.
So you need to break that surface at all. And no matter how good or bad it is, you got to break that surface.
Correct.
And take that surface off.
I need clean, fresh concrete in order to make sure that when I say it's going to last for 25 years, I truly believe it when I say it. Okay. So I'm going to jump to one case. So if I wanted something pretty like this on my cabinets, not on my face cabinet, but on the top of, can you do it, and can it still be heat resistant and all that kind of stuff? Yes, so what we have is an actual different product besides the flake that we're doing on. Okay. We do what's called a reflector resinous. It's a much thicker epoxy that ends up getting poured down, and it needs to be base coated, and it's got this powdered metallic that you got to wear a respirator for. So this is some really cool kind of almost like science project stuff to get to kind of concoct it, because we use these 2-part epoxies, and you do the chemical combination wrong and you could have a floor that never cures, or you could have a floor that is just going to look like a rippled, bubbled effect because you put too much hardener in it maybe. So there's a lot of mistakes that you can make, and you got to make sure you have all the right ratios, and once it gets laid out there on the countertop, or we even do this on the floors, it's the same material that we can put on the floors. I definitely don't know exactly, like I wouldn't put a hot pan on it or anything like that, but I know these surfaces, once they have that nice top coat, that's our protective coat. There you go. So look, if you're trying to get your concrete done, want your garage looking good, your driveway looking good, the inside of your house looking good, that's the man to call, Chris at Trinity Epoxy Flooring. Stick around, come right back. We've got more great people. We'll be right back. Thank you so much. Okay, we're back. I mean, it was quick, a couple of minutes and then we're gone, right? Then we're back now. All right, so guess what? I've got Tammy White from the Bobby White Foundation and Hope in the Light of Suicide TV show. So, I mean, it's all the same thing, kind of, but, So how you doing?
I'm doing good. How about you?
I'm good. So how's Foundation going?
Foundation is going good. Show's going good.
Yeah?
Yeah.
We're done. We can go home now. Right? No, I'm just kidding. So let's talk about the Foundation. And, you know, it's growing leaps and bounds. Mm-hmm. So let's talk about that so everybody knows what it is first.
Okay. The Bobby Foundation is a nonprofit.
Bobby White Foundation.
Bobby White Foundation is a nonprofit. We started it in 2018. It started out to help suicide loss survivors. Mm-hmm. And after our experience, I lost my husband, Bobby, of nearly 30 years to suicide in April of 2016. And it was through our experience that, experience, I guess, that we started the foundation to help lost survivors. But in helping lost survivors, it's kind of turned to the prevention side also. Mm-hmm. So it's really to educate and bring awareness, help reduce the stigma to suicide, prevention, resources, and hope for lost survivors. After a suicide loss survivors, which could be a family, friend, coworker, are typically at a 400 times greater risk for suicide than the general public.
Right.
And so therein also comes the prevention part. So we have our Purple Folder program, which was our first program that we started. Mm-hmm. And we started that with our first grant funding, our first year. Now the foundation took it over after the first year, and it's a folder just full of information that we wish that we would have had when we lost Bobby. Mm-hmm. And the idea is to get it out to somebody as soon after a suicide as possible. It's not always, that mm-hmm. way. And they may not be ready for the information.
Right.
But at least when they are, they have something in their hands.
Right.
So that was our main program. We have some T-shirts, to help fund the foundation. We're working on starting another program. We haven't even come up with a name for it yet, but it's kind of like a self-care program. It's going to be kind of like a scholarship program mm-hmm. where people can nominate people. Say, like, after a suicide death, we don't take care of ourselves. You're in a brain fog.
Yeah, you're in a spiral.
You don't know. And so somebody could nominate somebody, and they can also help pay for it so that we can send them maybe just to get a haircut. Mm-hmm. You know how good it feels to have somebody wash your hair?
Nope.
Well, no, you don't.
I do not.
Well, anyway. Or go to a chiropractor or get a massage.
Get a massage. That's good. Yeah.
We have on board Kim from 9 Round mm-hmm. is going to be on board. So
I don't want to go there and have her beat me up. Oh my God.
Yeah, but you might want to beat the heck out of one of those punching bags.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah.
So
that is definitely a release.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So we're going to be working with her. We've got a chiropractor on board. We have a handy woman and a handy man. You may not feel like doing something around your house that needs to be done, weeding. Maybe.
Heck, I would even say someone would want a cleaning lady to come in there and clean.
Exactly.
Because I know I've been in the houses afterwards, and a couple months later, and it's like, did you forget how to clean altogether?
Well,
this is crazy.
That's a great example because 3 months after I lost Bobby on 4th of July, I broke my leg. And you remember that. I had a cast from my knee to my hip.
Then a tree fell through your roof. Yay! You were just hitting a million there, weren't you?
So I couldn't clean my house.
Right.
I couldn't walk. Mm-hmm. And my neighbor actually paid for a cleaning lady to come in and clean my house for me, which was awesome. I still should do it. But, it's just little things like that to help people through this time, because you're in such a fog.
Yeah, I'm seeing now on actually on TV, which is really good, that all these people, I suffer from depression, and then they tell then they show all these people, well, you just got to get over it, or you just got to buck up, or it's going to be okay, or think about all the people worse than you, and that stuff doesn't help. It doesn't help.
It doesn't help, and we talk about that all the time on our show. grief isn't, you just don't go through it. There's no beginning, or there's a beginning, there's no end. And there's no right or wrong way to do it. I, myself, finally decided to go see a therapist.
Right.
You know, and I was 5.5 years into this. But I found at about the 2-3 year mark was when it was worse for me, because, you know, everybody goes back to their lives.
They try. Right.
And we don't, because our life isn't our life as we knew it anymore.
Right.
And I went through a depression for about 6 months. And there was a few people who knew it and who could tell. And my aunt came and stayed with me for a month.
Wow.
And she gave me a choice. Either you do this yourself or you go to a doctor. She wanted me to take meds, and I'm totally not that against that. We didn't do that with Bobby with his MS. So I did, but now it's a battle.
Right.
It's a battle every day. And if you would have known me before this, I was never that kind of person. You know, I went through bad stuff before. You know, I lost my first husband tragically, but I didn't go through
what you went through with
what
Bobby.
I went through with Bobby. And I never imagined myself to be in that state of mind. And throughout the time, I had people, you know, are you seeing somebody, blah, blah, blah. Well, I had a bad experience with my first husband, and that's why I kept pushing back. No, I can do this, I can do this. Until finally, I think it's really at the point where, okay, you're doing okay, you're going to get there, but you're at this last bit, and there's still anger, which shows up in grief. Your grief is anger, and so finally it's like, okay, let me see if I can find someone. And that's just it. If you may not find the right person the first time.
Right.
But
Don't stop looking.
Don't stop trying.
Exactly.
And that's going to be another part of our self-care program, because it's hard to find help, and it's expensive sometimes. So we have put together resources so that we can help refer people, and if we have the funding, we can help pay for that, because that's part of the whole thing too. It's like, I'm going through this already, and now I got to pay this to go get help.
Right, exactly.
You know.
And then what did I do? I thrust you into talking about it every single week.
Yeah.
Therapy's good. I won't charge you any more than I'm charging you now for therapy. It's okay.
But no, and the show has been good. You know, Bonnie and I, it's, you know, sometimes it gets hard. It gets hard for a lot of us in the studio, you know, during our shows sometimes. But it's good for us, and it's good to help other people.
Yeah.
At least this, especially when we were going through the pandemic, we couldn't really get out there and do anything.
Right.
But we could with our show.
Right. And here's something that a lot of you don't know. Yes, she has a foundation, and yes, she's helping a ton of people, and there is a little bit of help coming in for her for the foundation, which she needs more. So if you're interested, and you should be interested in helping your fellow man, but how she funds all this is she has Tammy White galleries.
Yeah, we're pretty much self-funded.
Right. So I mean, how hard is this that you work all week long on doing the frame, the custom framing, not just framing. Right. You don't run down to Best Buy or to the other box stores and buy frames and come home and frame it. You actually make your frames. So all of that work that you do helps fund the Bobby White Foundation, and I am a proud sponsor of the Hope in the Light of Suicide, and actually, I'm a proud sponsor for all this. Because right now, I should have put it up here. In the corner, right over there, you can't see it, we have this door that's got Let It Be, and it's an old truck door. It is so cool. If you want that for your location, you need to call me or call her, because I've got it for you, and it's not cheap, but it's not outrageous. And it was awesome.
Yeah, and it was actually designed, and all the work done on it, the artwork, from our great nieces.
Right. So it's family that did this. It's your
our niece, it's our niece's way to help support and show support for their uncle and for me.
Right. So there you go. So, what's going on in the future of Bobby White, the Bobby White Foundation? I mean, you got some events coming up?
Well, we're getting ready to start having our meetings. Hopefully this year we are going to be able to have Art for Hope in person. And tentatively that date is going to be September 8th, which is the week of suicide, National Suicide Prevention Week.
Right.
And that's when we usually have it. When we have it in person is during that week. And so we'll have local artists there. We'll also have other organizations that we partner with, such as NAMI, Ian's Way, which we've all had on our show, and probably Parks and Rec. There's a new event coming up first weekend of May.
Right.
With Pasco County Parks and Rec.
Nice.
And it's going to be at Sunwest Park. It's a mental health awareness deal, and so we're just starting to put that together. That's going to be probably the first big event that we'll be part of.
That's huge.
So
Sunwest is nice. It's
you know,
cool
I've
place.
never even been there.
Yeah, I remember when they first. Well, I remember before it opened up, there was a big bike event over there that I did, and it was like this big, beautiful bluish green water and this white. I'm like, how is this possible? But then the guy goes, it was an old mine, it flooded, and blah, 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 blah. So how do people get a hold of you?
Oh, there's a slew of ways to get a hold of
What's the easiest, right? The website.
The website, BobbyWhiteFoundation.org.
Okay.
And all the information is there. Yeah, you can get a hold of me there. We also have Facebook pages, the Bobby White Foundation Inc. Facebook page. We have a new page for the show, Hope in the Light of Suicide, and that's the likes and the followings are really growing really fast on that one,
Awesome.
which is really good.
That's really good. It's a good show.
So, well, yeah, we've been doing it for over a year now.
I know, right? Yeah, that's it. So you got about 20 seconds. Piece of advice.
Piece of advice. Just keep an eye on your family and friends. If you see something that's off, ask them.
Okay.
You know, just don't be afraid, because and even if they get mad at you, you would rather have them mad at you than have to go to their funeral.
There you go.
You know, just call and ask.
Just if you see something, say something. That's the old saying. Hey, stick around. We got one more guest coming up. We'll be right back after this. Okay, we're back. See, I told you, just a few minutes, right? So now we're here with Ray Amanat, right? And we met at Trinity Positive, where most of the people came in from today, right? And I told everybody what we do here at We Bean TV, and man, Ray's like going, I want more. I want to be a part of this. So not only did he say I want to be on, he came on as a show, but now he started his own show. That's Taboo Talks. Yeah. We're going to talk about that in a second, but right now we're Heroes in Action. Your conflict threat strategy, CTS, right?
Yes.
Okay, let's talk about that.
So Heroes in Action is the brainchild for me. It's a nonprofit organization dedicated to teaching violence prevention education for kids, women, families, businesses. Active shooter, you turn on the TV, turn on the radio, and you hear somebody being shot, somebody being killed, violence happening on a daily basis.
Someone's car being stolen out from underneath them.
And one of the things we try to do, you hear them say, if you see something, say something. You said it earlier. But most people don't know what to look for. They don't know the red flags to look for to know, am I in a good situation or a bad situation, and what's my verbal plan and what's my physical plan to get to a safe exit.
And you teach this.
Yes.
So if I come in and sit in your class, and am I going to learn when I walk into an establishment or I walk into my surroundings, I start looking, instead of just walking with your head down,
right,
or eyes in the sky, going dur-dur-dur-dur-dur, you walk in and you assess the room that you're in.
Right. Well, it's, can I borrow your phone?
Sure.
So most people are walking and looking at their phone, texting, talking, and they're tuned out. Mm-hmm. So with them being tuned out, they're not aware of other people that are looking at them.
Right.
So you get on an elevator, you're talking to someone, and then somebody else goes, this is a private conversation. Now, let me call you back in a more secure time rather than let me give out all the information to the person that just walked on the elevator.
Literally sat there and listened to someone give out their phone number, their email address, their address, their credit card number, and ultimately I'll go over and look at them and I'll go, because you don't know who I am.
Right.
I could be sitting there going, well, look at this. If I have an eidetic memory,
right,
I just got everything that you own.
Yeah.
I can clean your clock out. I can literally go and probably go into your bank account and clean you out.
Right. And that's where the identity theft comes in. Our goal is situational awareness to get you to be more aware of what's going on around you.
Right.
Be tuned in, don't be tuned out, people.
Right. I have so Ray and I have a common bond. We kind of hit it off and we're on the same page on a lot of things. But I'm a martial artist.
Sure.
Have been for almost 30-something years. Right. I fought. I've taught. And one of the big things that we always try to teach is we always taught our people, don't be a victim.
Right.
So and we were probably a lot more aggressive than your, well, I don't know, maybe not. But we would teach these people, when you walk into a room, the first thing, every time I walk into a room, the first thing I do is I size everybody up. Who is going to be my problem child if I have to get out or if I have to defend. I always do that, and no matter where I go. And I walked into Trinity Positive, I'm like, that guy over there, he's crazy. I ain't messing with you. That was you. No, I'm just kidding. So
look at it this way, for families.
Yep.
Teach, how many times has a family lost their child at a public place, whether it's a theme park or a mall or anything like that? It's knowing the lay of the land and having a predetermined safe place that if we get separated or if we get lost,
come back to here.
This is where we're going to meet.
Right.
This is where we're going to go. A lot of families don't have a plan of action to implement. You see all those commercials back then, gosh, I don't remember the commercials. It was, do we have blankets in our car? Do we have water?
Yeah.
Oh, we don't need that.
Right. That is an old commercial.
But that's what people still need to do. Have that. Do you, as an individual or as a family, have a plan of action when things go bad?
Right. Like when we used to, when my kids were much younger, if we ever got separated, we would pick a place in the park to go meet.
Right.
If we didn't see each other within a certain amount of time, you go to that place.
Right.
So the great news today is you now have a location in the Port Richey
area, yes.
to teach this.
Yes. We are at 8836 US 19. I got to remember this. It's it's new. It's at the Richey Racquet Club, and one of the things that they're doing there is they're taking some of the racquetball courts and they're converting them into businesses. So I was able to talk to the new owner up there, and I love the space that I got. We've converted it, and one of the things that Heroes in Action does is we do lectures, which set up the hands-on seminars, which set up the one-on-one coaching or group lesson training. So lectures are usually free to the public. We are a nonprofit. We try to get the information. Those that want the hands-on training will sign up for the seminars, which I look at it as that's our boot camp. It's giving you a foundation of knowledge to know what to do, what to say. And then those people that want to learn more and want to specialize can come into our group classes or do one-on-one coaching with us.
Are you there every day?
Pretty much. I'm teaching classes at the Wesley Chapel Rec Center on Tuesdays, but pretty much Mondays through Sundays, I'm available for private coaching or group lessons or seminars, for that matter.
That's awesome. So instead of being a victim, right? He's teaching you how not to be a victim.
Right.
That's a big deal.
It's going from being afraid to being fearless. You know, a firefighter doesn't look at a burning building and go, I'm not going in there. It's the training that gets him to be fearless to go in and take care of the fire. A police officer or a soldier does not look at a criminal or a terrorist and say, you're a big, bad, scary guy, you go get him.
All right.
Okay? It's the training that gives them the confidence to handle the problem. What we want to do is we want to give civilians the training to be able to say, I got this, to be fearless, not to beat somebody up, but to get away, to get the safety.
Right. Yeah. It's a flee and safety thing.
Right. Well, you have fight, flight, freeze, and the thing we don't want you to do is we don't want you to freeze.
Right.
You freeze, you lose.
I've seen so many people get in situations where they just become, they just hit the floor and they become a basket case, and that's not helping anybody.
Right.
You know, you may get in the way of people trying to help.
Absolutely.
So now we're going to switch over.
Switch
so
hats.
You started a show with me called Taboo Talks.
Yes.
Let's talk about Taboo Talks.
Taboo Talk, I wanted to come up with a program that sensitive topics that people normally don't want to address. I wanted to come up with an informative way, a fun way, a way that gets information out to people and shows them how to talk about topics without, I hate saying this, but getting butt hurt or getting their feelings hurt.
Right.
It is Taboo Talk.
It is Taboo Talks.
But we're going to be, like this next episode that we've got coming up next week is going to be solely about human trafficking. So the gentleman that I've got coming in, I've attended some of his presentations.
Okay.
He's a police officer with the St. Louis Police Department out there when I lived in Missouri. And he is a wealth of knowledge. He's phenomenal with what he does with this topic. He takes you on a journey. He plays the role of the person gathering information. And he shows how a predator gathers information from kids, gathers information from families, to use it to groom a child to get them to want to leave their family and walk away with him.
Wow. I mean,
it'll blow you away.
See, most time you think, when you say human trafficking, most people go, oh, well, they're bringing these poor people over from the borders. And no, this is happening internally.
Right.
Right in the United States.
Any hotel that you go to, there's trafficking happening at that hotel.
Wow.
A lot of times, people say the #1 trafficking day is the Super Bowl or any large events where people go to arenas and venues with lots of hotels. Now, any business event, you could be at an airport and your flight gets canceled because of the weather or anything like that. You go to the hotel, you want something to do, somebody's going to reach out to you if you go to the trafficking sites, and next thing you know, somebody's at your hotel.
That's crazy. I would have never.
It's happening everywhere.
So what are the things that we can look for? I know you're having this guy on next week. I don't want to steal all the thunder.
Right.
Are there things that we look for when we're out and about like that?
Any change of behavior in your child. If your child has new clothing, new shoes, somebody's giving it to them. Somebody's grooming them.
Right.
Trying to say that, hey, your lifestyle isn't so good at your home. They single out kids that are coming from troubled homes. They single out kids that they're not happy. They're isolated, they're introverts, they're depressed. And they give them things to make them feel pretty, to make them feel good about themselves. And then they start, do you like this lifestyle or do you want me to provide you with a new lifestyle? Right. You have to understand human trafficking, at one point it was drugs was the #1 crime.
Right.
Firearm sales, human trafficking. Human trafficking is now at number 1. But here's the same thing. Human trafficking also utilizes the drugs and the firearms, because once they get somebody lured away from their family, then they introduce the industry of porn. Then they introduce drugs. They get them hooked on drugs. They become an addict. If you want this drug, you have to do what we say. Now is when they start getting trafficked.
Okay. And
they threaten the child's family. We will kill your family if you don't do what we say. And that child doesn't want to go back to the family because of embarrassment. So their only way out usually is suicide. So the suicide rate of people that are trafficked is extremely high.
So now this is something, let's bring it right back to Heroes in Action. This is something that you teach in those classes.
Yes, absolutely. Our goal, human trafficking is not always a snatch and grab, but it's being able to identify safe or unsafe adults, what type of language that they're using, and being open and honest with your mentors, your family members, your parents. Hey, this person approached me and said this or did this, what do I do? A lot of times kids don't know how to react, they don't know what to do or say. We want to give them those tools so that they can identify unsafe people and have that plan of action to get the safety.
That is absolutely phenomenal. So there you go. If you want to not be a victim and you don't want your family to be a victim, you need to come in and listen to one of his lectures and then sign up with him. Thank you for watching today. We appreciate it. This has been Tampa Bay Business Connection. You can find us here on WeBeam TV. You can go on demand, YouTube, Facebook. It's all there for you to get some great information. Stay tuned for the next program coming up, because it is going to be awesome on WeBeam TV. Have a great night.